welcome back to Tipoff 2023-2024. Ron Poniewasz and Larry Kelly is your Tipoff team. Larry Kelly, a member of the Luxembourg, Garbutt, Kelly & George law firm, also an assistant baseball coach with Penn State Shenango and the former varsity baseball coach at Shenango. And he was also the 9th grade boys basketball coach at Newcastle for a time. Larry Kelly, welcome back as we are in the state playoff edition of Tipoff.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. A little bit different for me because the Red Hurricane isn't part of the journey, which, you know, since 2010, we've been part of that journey every year. But we had a couple of our high school teams do really well over the weekend, survive and advance. And with every game, it gets tougher. It gets tougher.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So first off, we have Athlete of the Week, and we're going to tell you about a young lady that performed really well for her team in the opening round of the state playoffs. And then we'll get into our schedule portion of what's left in the state basketball playoffs. But first, Payton Newman, a 5'8" sophomore guard forward. She scored 24 points for Neshannock, along with 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals in a 72-62 win over Chestnut Ridge Class 3A action. Larry, quite a performance, especially for a sophomore guard forward.
Anytime you can register a double-double, you've had a big day. My understanding, Chestnut Ridge was a pretty good team. In fact, I think Neshannock was losing early in that game. Doing it on the road, it's impressive. That's an impressive performance. 24-12 is a big-time performance. And, you know, they will need more of that if they're going to survive and advance as they continue on their journey.
Sure. When speaking with Luann Grabowski after the game, she said that this was not only a great win for Neshannock, but Chestnut Ridge was probably one of the better teams that they had faced all season long.
Yeah, that's what I was able to assess in reading the column and reading her comments in the newspaper. And again, you're playing them on their home court, and it's a tough sled. It's a long bus ride, and it's a tough thing to do, and to go up there and win, and especially when you fall behind early, because as I recall, they did fall behind early. But double-double's an impressive performance. Payton Newman, only a sophomore.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is Neshannock girls basketball improving to 19-8 on the season with that 72-62 win over Chestnut Ridge. And like you just talked about, Chestnut Ridge, that's not exactly next door. It was about a 3-hour bus ride, according to Coach Grabowski.
Yeah, and on a school bus. Next time you speak to Luann, ask her if she rode the bus with the girls. Or did she drive up herself and put an assistant coach on that bus? Listen, I rode those school buses, man. My body's too big to sit in those seats. They're loud. In the summer during baseball season, they're too hot. And in the winter during basketball season, they're too cold. There's nothing in between. During the basketball season, if they turn the heat on, it's 100 in there. And if they turn the heat down, it's 30. There's no in between. So, yeah, riding the school bus. When's the last time you were on a school bus, Ronnie?
Oh, it's been a while.
All right. Well, I want you to talk to a couple of the high school coaches and ask them, the varsity, the head coaches, if they're riding on the bus or do they drive up themselves? See what they have to say.
Yeah, I know it's not a picnic, that's for sure. So, yeah. But how about you? When you was with Newcastle, did you ride the school bus with them, or did you have a Kelly Cruiser like the Mad?
No, with my 9th grade team, I was on the school bus. But, you know, the varsity games, I didn't have to ride the school bus. I drove myself. Now, when we took those coach buses on those 2 or 3 hour trips in the state tournament, yeah, I wouldn't mind getting in a coach bus. That wasn't too bad. But the school bus it's a rough ride, man. Let me tell you, it's a rough ride. But that did not deter the Lady Lancers. Big win, 72-62 on the road, Chestnut Ridge, Payton Newman, double-double, 24-12. That's a big game. Well-deserving of Athlete of the Week. You don't always get it right at the Newcastle News, but you got it right this week.
You got a little bit of insight of the pampered life of Larry Kelly just now.
I've been on that school bus often, so trust me, it isn't pampered. often, too often, actually, but we used to have a lot of fun on that bus too. When we'd win, we would sing. Always stopped at McDonald's on the way home after a win. The boys would get, or as the case may be, the girls, because I coached women too, would get something to eat. So yeah, it was always we made it a fun trip. We did. I got to pick the first song all the time, when we were singing, and of course it was "My Girl" by the Temptations. But had a lot of fun on those buses on the way home after victories, and quite frankly, a lot of pretty good memories too.
Probably, truth be told, as you would say, the last time that I can remember being on a school bus, my dad and I had season tickets to West Virginia University football games, and we always parked at the Coliseum and got a shuttle to the stadium and back, and those were on school buses. So
okay, well, that shuttle ride was about 5 minutes. Try being on it for about 5 hours and see how you feel.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, for sure. So, and let's not forget, speaking of Neshannock High girls basketball, let's wish happy birthday to Coach Luann Grabowski. Happy birthday, Coach.
How old is she now? About 25?
I don't know, Larry. It's not my business to ask. I know it's her birthday. That's good enough for me. Happy birthday.
Looks like she's 25. So that's my guess as to how old Luann is.
Okay. All right. Very good. So, Larry, that is Athlete of the Week, Payton Newman, and we are going to take a break. On the other side, we are going to tell you about the schedule that remains for 5 of our state playoff teams. We had 7. We lost 2 of them. So we'll tell you about that schedule on the other side right here on Tip-Off.
We all know there's an advantage to being the home team, to playing at home. And at LGKG, we have been your home team for personal injury cases involving automobile accidents and workers' compensation claims for over 90 years. At LGKG, over 10,000 clients have trusted us to represent them. We know how to present your case to a Western Pennsylvania jury. We know what makes them tick. We know how to win.
We're back with you here on Tip-Off, and before we get into the schedule part, we touched on at the close of the Athlete of the Week how we lost 2 teams from the state playoffs. The Wilmington girls were bounced in 3A, and the Neshannock boys were eliminated in Class 3A as well. On the boys' side, Wilmington's loss, it was their 3rd ever trip to the state playoffs, Larry. Avonworth. They played Avonworth, and Avonworth is the team that defeated Neshannock in the WPIAA semifinal. So you knew going in that Avonworth is a really good team, and they blew out Neshannock. However, Wilmington was in that game, and toward the end, I mean, it kept going back and forth. It'd be 10. Next thing you know, it's down to 4, right back in it. But at some point, there's not going to be enough sand left in that hourglass, and you're going to run out of time. And then when Avonworth put it back up to 10, there was really not a whole lot of time, and Wilmington just ran out of time.
Avonworth is a good basketball team. It's a high school whose girls program has a long and rich tradition and culture in basketball. They've won a bunch of WPIAL titles through the years. So it's no shame losing to them. And again, if the game is being played on Avonworth's home court, which I think it was because they were the higher seed, it's tough to win on the road, Ronnie. It is so tough. It's the toughest thing to do in sports, is to win on the road in basketball. And, that's what made our Newcastle couple of years. We went undefeated in the WPIAL. Road games, not only in the playoffs, but in the section against really good teams on the road. And to be able to win those consistently is something that's very difficult to do. So Wilmington girls had a really, really good year. They've seemed to have turned their program around. It wasn't so long ago that the Wilmington girls were not so different than the Union girls, where they struggled to win. But that's no longer the case. They've got it turned around, and they got the ball moving in the right direction.
That is Wilmington's 3rd all-time trip to the state playoffs. They're still looking for their first state playoff victory. Larry, what is going to be the difference for Wilmington to do so? Are they going to have to at least get to the District 10 championship, whether they win or lose it? It's a different landscape as a 10-1 or a 10-2 compared to 10-3, which they've been each of the last 2 years.
It's a big deal playing that first game at home. It's a big deal. I say anywhere it's a 4 to 6 point advantage playing at home, sometimes bigger. So, a little more success in the regular season and in the playoff season before you get to the state bracket is important. It really is. And again, they got the ball moving in the right direction. It wasn't so long ago, I believe they did not have a 500 record. And, the issue was whether or not they would even participate in the District 10 tournament. So that program's come a long way.
Yeah. Now we go over to boys, and the Neshannock boys were playing against Franklin, and had anybody asked me, going into the weekend, what is your marquee matchup of the first round? That would have been it. It would have been Franklin and Neshannock, two teams that were both 20-5 going in. Franklin was the District 10 runner-up, and Neshannock was the fourth place representative out of the WPIAA. I really thought Neshannock had a shot at winning that game, and in addition would be a lot more competitive. I was kind of surprised by the fact that it was the spread that it was.
Well, first of all, Franklin's a very good basketball team, and they have a culture. They have a championship culture at that high school also. They've been good forever, well coached forever. And once again, you're playing that game on Franklin's home court. It's a big deal. And to make matters even more difficult, Neshannock fell behind early, and it was 36-17 at halftime. That's tough to come back from. It's very easy to get out of what you do and what you do well when you fall behind so early. And, it's very difficult to stay in your mode, so to speak, to remain who you are. And no shame losing to Franklin. They're good, Ronnie. They've always been good.
Yeah, you're right. That Franklin was the 3-time defending District 10 champion, but they didn't win it this year. They got upset in the District 10 championship. So you kind of wondered, and I don't remember who won the District 10 title this year out of 3A. Kind of wonder what it would have looked like, who they would have played as the District 10 champ, Neshannock, who the opponent would have been for Neshannock. That's a tough draw against Franklin. But
tough draw. And again, no longer is it played at a neutral site. It's played at the home court of the higher seed. And that's a big disadvantage.
And as you would know, Newcastle boys basketball coach Ralph Blundo, one of his famous sayings is getting out of the gate. And Franklin got out of the gate and Neshannock didn't, meaning a fast start.
Yeah, I mean, it was 36-17 at halftime. And the first quarter was a 20-point difference, was it not, Ronnie? As I recall,
somewhere along those lines, yeah.
Something close to that. Yeah, it's tough, especially on the road. It's very difficult. But Neshannock had a good team. They finished 20-6. You win 20 games, buddy. You're good. You are good. And nothing to be ashamed of. It's a good program. John Corey's a great coach. And they have horses coming. David Quat, their leading scorer, is only a sophomore. The Sopko boy, he's a junior. He had 11 points in that game. And just 2 weeks ago, one of their other guys, an underclassman, I believe, was athlete of the week. So, they got horses coming back.
Alan Anderton, you might too.
Alan, What year was he in? He's underclassman, was he not?
Yeah, I believe he is underclass. Yeah.
He might have been a sophomore too. So again, they got young men coming back who will now have experience. And David Quat may be the best player in the entire section next year. He's that good.
Yeah. Congratulations to those two teams for great seasons throughout their respective classifications or districts in Wilmington girls and Neshannock boys. Out of the teams that are still alive and fighting for a state title is we have 2 games on Tuesday and 2 games on Wednesday to comprise the 5 teams remaining. On Tuesday, we have the 3rd place representative out of the WPIAA Union taking on the District 9 champion Elk County Catholic. That game is 7:30 p.m. at Penn West Clarion, Class 1A basketball. And in the girls basketball, the 3rd place representative out of the WPIAA in Neshannock taking on Mercyhurst Prep. That game is Sharon.
They're going to be two tough games. From this point in, there are no cupcakes. Elk County Catholic, again, a Catholic school, the district champ. They're going to be good, and they're probably close to an AAU team. Mercyhurst Prep, I know, is an AAU team out of Erie. They won several district championships. Listen, these are two really, really tough games. The good news is they're being played at a neutral court. So, you better have, as I used to tell my guys, you better put your big boy pants on, because these are going to be dogfights.
Yeah. All right. And then we transition over to Wednesday. We have the 7th place representative out of the WPIAA, Ellwood City Lincoln, on the 3rd place representative out of the WPIAA, which is Mohawk, a all-county confrontation, Larry. That's going to be up at the Fieldhouse, Newcastle, and that is Wednesday night. So first off, your thoughts on this?
Oh, that's going to be a great game. The gym will be packed. Ellwood will bring an entourage. Mohawk always does. These two teams know each other. I think Mohawk won both games, but they were hotly contested, and I expect this one to be the same. Joe Roth went for 51 the last time these two teams played, but I think Bobby Fadden might have had 40 in that game. This is going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a great game. And, when teams know each other really, really well, like these two teams will know each other, points are going to be a little harder to come by, I think, than what we saw in the last game at Mohawk that was an absolute shootout.
First game was 77-64 in favor of Mohawk. The second game, as you alluded to, the game that Joseph Roth went off the rails and had 51 points. That game was 82-77, so a little bit more high scoring.
I don't see the winner being in the 70s in this game. I see the game closer to the 50s or 60s. I do, only because the teams know each other so well. And, everybody has tendencies. And, I used to, even at the 9th grade level, I would pride myself on picking up the tendencies of the other team and the other players. Of course, at Newcastle, when we watched films, I would pick up tendencies. I remember one time we were playing Montour, and their star guard, Devin, man, I can't think of his name. I got a mental block. He went to Virginia Tech. He was good. Ronnie, help me out. Who am I thinking about? Devin Wilson, Montour.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched 6 tapes on him to figure out that, when he got dribble penetration to his right, he shot it. And when he got dribble penetration to his left, he kicked it. And, I must have watched 50 paint touches to kind of figure that out. So when he's going left, we don't want to help. When he's going right, maybe we do. And it's little things like that that could make the difference in a game when you know each other really, really well. And so, I'm sure these teams will know each other well. They'll do their homework. So I don't see the game in the 70s this time around.
All right. So, Larry, is there an advantage to either team? Mohawk having won two games. They're familiar with Ellwood. Ellwood has played Mohawk, even though they haven't beaten them. They know they can keep it close. A 5-point game is 2 possession. They haven't beat them yet, so they're hungry. They have that hunger in them.
I don't think there's any advantage here. I do. I think it's a pick'em game. I'm sure Mohawk's going to go into the game confident because they won twice. But the last game was a dogfight on Mohawk's home court. Ellwood's a better team now than they were at the beginning of the year. So I don't think anybody has an advantage. I think this is going to be a great Lawrence County matchup. It's going to be a dogfight. It'll be a great night at the Fieldhouse.
Shooting in a gym that you don't play in very often can be tough. Newcastle has always run into problems like at Geneva. Geneva is not a good place, a good venue for Newcastle. However, when you're talking about Mohawk and Ellwood, they haven't played here much. I don't know if Mohawk has played there this year. I'm almost positive that Ellwood played against Shenango on a Sunday in a showcase game. So does that help Ellwood in any way?
Well, I don't think it helps because in the summer league and in the fall league, both Mohawk and Ellwood would play in our gym. Both teams would participate in the summer and in the fall. So these guys all have experience at the field house. We used to play some ninth grade games against Ellwood and Mohawk in the big gym in the field house. So I don't think it's a big deal, but there is an advantage to playing at home. And so, if there's an advantage, it maybe goes to Ellwood because Mohawk is not playing at home, and you're never quite as comfortable on the road. I mean, at a new gym as you are at home. And I'll say another thing too. Newcastle's court is 94 feet. Mohawk's court is not a 94-foot court. Ellwood's court is a 94-foot court, and so the size of the court may benefit Ellwood a little bit. And I know Mohawk likes to press in that 2-2-1, and of course, when you're covering more space on the court, it's a little bit more difficult to run your press. So that advantage may go to Ellwood City because they're used to a little bigger court.
Okay, before we go on to the girls' game, being that this is an all-county matchup, who gets the win? Who moves on between Ellwood and Mohawk?
Wow. You know what? If I were setting a line, okay, and I know you like to bet, I'd make Mohawk a 2-point favorite.
Okay.
$1, but that means it could go either way.
Okay, so who's winning?
Oh, man. Well, I guess I got to say Mohawk. I guess I have to because I'm making them a 2-point favorite. But I view this as this is going to be a great game. This is going to be a great game. I wonder if my Fieldhouse keys still work down there, if I can get into the game. I don't know. I'll have to find out.
Oh,
if my fob still works at the Fieldhouse.
Yeah, that and your Newcastle News press pass from the 1960s or whatever.
No. My man Danny Irwin gave me I'm still a member of the press corps. And that press pass worked at the Peterson Event Center last year when I covered the Newcastle champion. Once a Newcastle News staffer, Ronnie, always a Newcastle News staffer. I never lose my privileges.
Yeah.
Well, you're an out-of-towner. You don't understand that. You're an out-of-towner. Once you're a staffer at the NC News, you're always a staffer.
And then how do we translate our perks to yours? Faulty email that doesn't work and all that other stuff. How do we pass that on to you?
I can't help you there, my brother.
Right. Okay, the final game that we need to talk about is the girls basketball matchup on Wednesday, which is the WPIAL champion Union girls against the second seed out of District 5, Northern Bedford. And that game is set for Hempfield High School on Wednesday night, a little earlier than the Ellwood Mohawk game. But we got Union and Northern Bedford. Any thoughts on that one?
I'm not the Union girls.
Yeah.
Not betting against them. Just not. They're really good. I mean, they blew out their last opponent 59-18. Cleaver again, double figures, Forstorfer, 21 points, 4 threes. They're on fire. It's going to get tougher as they move forward. Don't get me wrong. It's going to get tougher because they're going to see some Catholic schools and some charter schools and prep schools somewhere down the line that they'll have to be ready for. But I think they take care of business this week.
All right. A lot of times you'll hear coaches when we get into the state playoffs, they'll say we had a long layoff. Well, Union played on a Saturday morning in the WPIAL championship. They played on a Saturday afternoon in the first round. So exactly 1 week. I'm not sure how the layoff affected them because they blew out the opponent. However, because they blew them out, can a layoff linger? Because as you know, since they were way ahead, they were letting the younger girls play. So their starters, they played 5 quarters, 4.5 if you want to call overtime a half, being that it's 4 minutes. So you played 4.5 on a Saturday. The very next week, you're probably playing essentially 2 because you're up by almost 30 at the half. Can a long layoff still be in play with Union?
I don't think so. Not at this stage of the season. The trap game was the first game after the Whitfield final. We're past that trap game now. So, look, they're going to be ready. They're going to be rested, which is important this time of year. It's a long season. Ronnie, hoops is a long season. And even at a very young age, your legs can get a little bit fatigued. And oftentimes a half step is the difference between getting to the cup and not getting to the cup. And, I think the blowout win and a little bit of additional rest for the Union girls will benefit them.
Okay. In summary, it sounds like you like Mohawk boys and Union girls on Wednesday. Tuesday, who do you like in the Tuesday games?
Wow. So give me the games again.
Union boys 7-3, WPIAA 3 against 9-1, District 9 champ Elk County Catholic.
Jesus. I got a lot of friends in Union, man. And if I pick against the Scotties, Mike Gunn's going to be on the phone with me tonight. He won't even wait until tomorrow because he watches this. It's a tough sled. Elk County Catholic is really good, because, again, they're ringers. They got them from everywhere. But I can't. Those kids from Union are special. They are. There's something about that group. There's just something about them, and they get it done. And it doesn't matter who they're playing. So I'm picking Union.
Okay. All right. The girls.
And they're an underdog. Let me tell you something. They're a 6-point dog in this game, but I'm picking Union in an upset. Upset special.
All right. Larry the Greek, what do you got for Neshannock girls against Mercyhurst Prep?
Did Mercyhurst win the district?
I didn't write that down. I think they did. I think they're a 10-1.
Yeah, and they have women from all over Erie County. They do. And I hope I'm wrong here, because I'm a big Luann Grabowski fan, but her team's young. Mm-hmm. They're really young. And I think, I don't know if they have enough to handle Mercyhurst Prep. Where's that game going to be played? Edinburgh? We're in the backyard, like we used to have to play those teams from Erie at Edinburgh all the time. Where are they playing this game?
Tell me where you think it's going to be played at, being that it sounds like you don't know.
Well, I'd say Edinburgh because those Erie teams always got to play at Edinburgh and we had to drive 2 hours.
Sharon High School.
Okay. Well, that's a little more mid-range. That's a little fair. That's for sure. But look, I think Mercyhurst's Prep's probably going to win. I hope I'm wrong. And only because Union's young. They're young. They're young, and Mercyhurst Prep every year, they're the best team. They're the Erie County All-Star team.
Not an AAU team, as you like to call it.
It's an AAU team. Call it what you want. It is what it is, buddy. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm just not. That's what made me so happy that the Union women, the Union girls beat St. Joseph's last week. I love when that stuff happens. There was another one. Who else won? Aliquippa beat a private school, didn't they? If I'm not mistaken.
Greensburg Central Catholic, I believe.
Yeah. I love when that happens. I'm a public school kid. You know what I mean? That's the one thing about Ralph. He said, we're never going to go get kids from anywhere else. We're going to play with our own and go get whoever you think you want, and we'll be waiting for you. And that's the attitude that you got to have in these games. So, again, only because Neshannock's young do I think Mercyhurst Prep probably moves on.
And North Catholic beat Blackhawk, if we're staying in that theme of privates and publics.
Well, North Catholic, I mean, that is a Pittsburgh AAU team. They've won how many? How many women's championships, right?
Yeah. I tell you what, I saw this comment circulating somewhere. Somebody had written it. I don't know if it was in relation to a post that we had. They mentioned how great it would have been. I think they were saying next year, maybe we could get a Kennedy Catholic Union girls basketball game like next year. They were looking ahead, and I was thinking it would have been nice to play that this year when you have like Kelly Cleaver that's a senior, that sort of thing. I mean,
yeah.
What do you think? How great would that matchup be?
That'd be a great game, and that's an Allen Deep game that he should try to put together. He does those kind of like all-star games, not necessarily all-star games. They're kind of tournament games during the season. Showcase games. So that would be a great game and a lot of interest. And it's just, again, I'm a public school guy, and I When I did the research and presented it to the oversight committee of the PIAA, the state legislature, I did all the research. In the state tournament, the private schools win 70% of the games, 7 out of 10, by an average of 15 points a game. Why? Because they have better players. That's all. They got better players. When we played Imhotep Charter, their 3 guards were being recruited by Kansas, Villanova, and Kentucky. Our 3 guards, well, Michael Wells is playing football at Youngstown. Jonathan Anderson is at Mercyhurst, and Isaiah Boyce is at a prep school. Not one of them were being recruited by a Power 5 team. Who's going to win that game?
Right. So it sounds like the Wednesday winners will play Saturday, and by the sounds of it, we will have 2 Saturday games because by default, Ellwood or Mohawk, we will have at least 1 Saturday game. But in your mind, the Union girls will win also, so we'll have 2 Saturday games. And Friday, it sounds like by your estimation, we will have 1 Friday game. You're leaning toward Union.
I hope the Neshannock girls win. I do. I'm a big Luann fan, but she's got a young team going against Mercyhurst Prep, and that's a tough sled.
Yeah, I know you didn't like the quote unquote house money term last week, but Larry, again, they're young, so you got to think. Caitlin Freeze is your senior. They want to win for Caitlin Freeze. They want to win as a team, but anything they do has to be just gravy for next year. All this experience that they're getting. The WPIAL level, deep into the WPIAL playoffs. Now they're 2 rounds into the state playoffs, bare minimum, whether they win or lose. And if they win, it's just going to be food for, more next year with their experience.
Well, I mean, we had a young girl, Payton, who as a sophomore just went for a double-double in a state playoff game. Man, that's impressive. And, nothing succeeds like success. And look, if she goes for another double-double and some of their other, players have big games, Neshannock can win. They're not going to get out-coached. I can tell you that. You know what I mean? And if it comes down to coaching, Neshannock's winning. If it becomes a 1 or 2 possession game down at the end where coaching really makes a difference, Neshannock's winning. But again, they're up against a prep school that's an Erie County All-Star team, and Neshannock is young. And that's the only reason I would pick Mercyhurst Prep, but why I think they will win. But I hope I'm wrong.
I would certainly love to see another matchup between Neshannock and Avonworth because early on, Neshannock was playing right along with them, and I think Avonworth just kind of figured out what they were doing, and their experience prevailed. But I think having another crack at them with the coaching experience that Neshannock has on their bench with Jessica Shevitz and Luann Grabowski, I think I would like to see a rematch, which would be, I think, another round or 2 down the road, probably 2 rounds down.
You give Luann another crack after having an opportunity to see that team. Yeah, it'll be. Listen, Avonworth may win, but it's not going to be like last time. I think it was a double-figure game. What was the final? Was it 10 points or something?
It was something like 76-52 or 72-51 or something along those lines.
It was double-figure game, but it won't be next time. I guarantee you that.
Right, absolutely. All right, Larry, that's what we have for you this week, unless you have any parting words.
Geno Stone, one of my former players, just signed a $15 million contract with the Cincinnati Bengals. 2 years, $15 million. One of the smartest kids I've ever coached. One of the nicest, friendliest. He's a class act, tough as nails, football instincts like I've never seen. I'm really happy for him. And he's a Red Hurricane, baby, through and through. And, the whole city, I'm sure, applauds Geno Stone, our native son, who's now playing for the Cincinnati Bengals. The only thing that I'm disappointed in is that he's not wearing the black and gold of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That would have been icing on the cake.
Yeah, we saw Sam Flora with Baltimore gear, Now we get to see him with Bengals gear.
I wonder if number 26 is available with the Bengals.
Yeah.
Sometimes that number may not be available because Gino was wearing 26 in honor of Uncle Sam Flora, and Denny and Ricky and all the Floras wore number 26. So I'd be anxious to see if that number is available.
Yeah, we might have to get creative, being now that they put that new rule in a couple of years ago where you can wear different type of numbers. You don't have to wear this position, this number, this group of numbers. Now, you could have a defensive lineman wearing a single number or something like that. So Gino could probably, if that's the case, he could ask for number 6 or number 2 or something.
Yeah, that would work. 2 or 6. Yeah, that would work. Get half it there. So, but we're proud of him, and he's a great young man.
And maybe he could put in a good word for on our behalf and get the Bengals to change those ridiculous stripes on the helmet and go back to the way I like the Bengals, with Bengals written on the side of the helmet. Helmets.
I'm sure you're going to interview Gino on his new contract. Why don't you tell him that should be his first suggestion when he gets there, and let's see how that goes. And by the way, if you need Gino's number to interview him, I have it, so I can help you if you don't have it already. So
yeah, so do we.
All right, good.
All right, he's Larry Kelly. I'm Ron Poniewasz. We wish the very best of luck to our student athletes and coaching staffs around the county. Some big games this week, second round of the state playoffs. Thank you for joining us, everybody, and we will see you back here next week on Tipoff.
We all know there's an advantage to playing at home, to being the home team. At LGKG, we've been your home team personal injury attorneys for auto accident and workers' compensation cases for over 90 years. We know what works and how to win. We have all the credentials. At LGKG, we don't take every case. We handpick our clients so that we can give you the attention you deserve.
Coach, congratulations on the win first off. It's great to get the last home game of that season done.
Yeah, I feel great for our seniors. It's good for Kelly and Bella and Kayla and Ariana to go out on top at home. We're not done yet, though. I thought we came out and played real well defensively, and we talked about all week we need to come out and be relentless on defense, and I thought we were early on. Got a lot of turnovers there. Had trouble finishing, but we'll work on that.
After 2 years straight in a row, do you believe in the Whippeal hangover?
Some teams talk about it. I don't know if I believe or don't believe, but we refocus every day, and we tell them, it's great to win that, but we got to start over. The state playoffs are a big deal to us, with the run that we had last year, so we just need to refocus every day.
Kylie, great first quarter for you. 3 3-pointers. She led for you guys, 21 points. Let's talk about her performance.
Yeah, she played great. On both ends of the court again. She played well defensively and played well offensively. Definitely knocked down shots there that helped us get out to a lead, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to get up on them early and, settle down from there and play defense.
I want to ask you, Ireland Fisher, she got some key minutes there too, and she was really working in a tandem with Kelly to get Kelly, to sink some baskets. Talk about that.
Ireland's doing a great job for us. She gets better every day. I'm banking on her getting big minutes for us the rest of the way here, and she's a freshman and she's getting a lot better, and every day she improves, and she's a big part of our team. She battles kids in practice, and she performs when we put her in the game, so she's definitely playing well for us.
It kind of ramped up there in the second quarter. It started getting a little physical there. Was that just because you guys were taking the lead and there's probably frustration from the other team?
Yeah, there's probably some frustration there, but again, we talked about it. Sometimes games get physical, and you just have to deal with it, and you got to play through it and play hard.
40-12 at halftime. What's the talk?
Just to continue to do what we do, just to keep getting after them defensively, just keep playing hard and playing good on offense. And, if we do that, then we think we'll be successful. And, again, I told the kids that when they get their moment, when they get their opportunity to get in there, that they got to continue to play hard, and they did.
Speaking of that, Kelly hit that 3 there, lead to Mercy. We're right off the bat in that first third quarter there. Then you get all your starters out, It's nice to get them experience that we always talk about, but also that last home game experience.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I couldn't be happier for Kelly and for the rest of our seniors, Bella and the other two. They've had great careers here, and I don't want it to end anytime soon, and I know they don't want it to end. So, for them to go out on top at home is fitting. For Kelly to hit a big 3 for us and put us up 30 and get the clock running, couldn't be happier for us.
Ridgeway, Northern Bedford, comments moving forward one game at a time as usual?
One at a time. We'll get some film when we see who wins, and we'll move forward from there.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Coach.